Peace, 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 family. How you all doing? My name is Keisha, and I am the owner of Ascendant Astrology, and I am your astrology coach. Today, I'm coming on here to talk about Venus and Mercury entering into Sagittarius. Now, if you've been following me over, um, well, I am on my on my YouTube page because I really wanted to do this on IG, but then I was like, you know what? I'll find something else to do over there. But if you've been following me here, I've been doing the Venus through the signs, and I was saying that because of how important Venus is right now, and Mars. I already did all of Mars. Mercury is going to be next, and I'm going to actually do videos on Venus and Mercury alone as well. Um, just so that you can get more information on it because we have the Venus star point that just moved into Libra, which is really important. And um, Venus is important because it's Taurus is in the North Node, which is our collective mission um as a people, and it's ruled by Venus. So anytime anything that Venus is doing is going to be super important to the North Node and our collective destiny. So Venus enters Sagittarius today on the 15th until December 9th, and Mercury enters Sagittarius on the 17th until December 2nd. So Venus also becomes visible on December 1st, which I talked about. So you want to go back. Unfortunately, you got to go back to my old page. I'm so sorry about that, guys. But the link is right on top of my page, my link tree. You can get there by my website. And I think I did leave some links in the description box below as well, so that you could get there easily. But you know what I'll do? I'll post the videos I did on my website. I have a video there on the front page. I'll use that to post the old videos that you need to watch. I think that are going to be helpful for you. That's what I'll do. I should probably write that down because I will forget, y'all. Um, but yeah, so I'll post that video, the Venus star point. It's on my page, my IG page too, with a link. Um, it's important to know what's going on aside from just your personal astrology so that you know how to measure in this information as you're following and starting this journey to who you are. So, who will be affected by this the most? Well, Taurus and Libra, because they're both ruled by Venus, obviously Sagittarius, and Mercury is involved heavily in all of this too, because Mars is in Gemini and it's having a really big transit for that 6 month stay. So Gemini and Virgo. And then once we get towards the end of the month, a Gemini, Virgo, and Pisces will have a lot more squares and a lot more uncomfortability with with those squares at the end of the month. Just in time for the holidays, y'all. Ain't spirit great? I'll be trying to tell y'all. So you want to be careful for that. And I'll obviously be talking more about that closer to the date, but for sure, my Pisces, Geminis, and Virgos want to watch out towards the end of the month where things get a little bit rocky. So, Venus is the planet of love, self-worth, money, beauty, and resources, pleasures and desires. And Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter will be moving direct on the 23rd. And that's going to be huge. I actually am working on doing a post after I get off of here on that I think is going to really help bring a lot of this into play. Um, and Jupiter wants to expand Venusian themes. And so we may be more social, want to try new things and look for love in different places. We can feel like it's the right time to talk about love and share our feelings. Now, Mercury enters Sagittarius. When Mercury enters Sagittarius, Mercury is more logical and action oriented. It's really not like the lovey-dovey stuff. Um, because Mercury is in opposition, even though I still feel like Mercury and Sag, even though they're opposites, these are still pretty positive energies. In fact, Mercury in Sagittarius is the only positive aspect in astrology because they still get along so well. So this still not too bad, but an opposition is an opposition, okay? And typically when we're talking about oppositions, it's gonna have to do with relationships. However, I feel like these relationships are more relative to long distance relationships, the relationships that we have with other cultures and people from different places from us or from from other cultures from us. Our beliefs, philosophy, religion, spirituality. This could be some legal stuff or higher law, like universal law, like spiritual law, morals, ethics, our world view, um, which, where I think is all the diciness is going to come in because Mercury can also be very direct in Mercury. And even though they're very serious, they're jokesters, they are very funny and lively in that way. But they're also very serious 9 times out of 10. These can also be the relationships that you have with your teachers, gurus, students, um, or people that you're in class with. Um, and if you're somebody who's in a relationship, even if you're not in a relationship, these are the in-laws. So the family members of your children's other parents' family. Try saying that fast 5 times, right? So there could be a lot going on there with that. Um, and because it's Venus, this is I mean, it's really eighth house that has to do with child support, but this could be that, unfortunately. It just is what it is. Um, um, this could also be about traveling outside of the country specifically, or your education, or like who you listen to, like on radio, blog talk, blogs, um, TED Talks, YouTubers, and things like that. You could find yourself finding newer people or something to that effect, or people who are foreign to you or foreigners or people from outside of the country. But that's just going to be a big topic because Sagittarius rules um, long distance travel. So anything outside of the country. So definitely this is going to have a lot to do with the war. Um, obvious. I mean, that's the most obvious thing to me. Um, so we may be more inclined to express ourselves or tell white lies. Sagittarius tend to over exaggerate stories, but they also look at the bigger picture, world events, again, culture, travel, and your beliefs. There could be more optimism when it comes to talking about love and what it can be, and people getting really down to the nitty-gritty of, well, where do we see this relationship going? And if you're already in a relationship, it could be more about, well, how can we have more fun and liven up our space when it comes to our relationship? So trying new things, whether that's cooking, taking a class together, learning together, um, and doing things in tandem together, traveling together. This could be a vacation, just saying. Um, um, mm, and because of the holidays, this is definitely going to be about people who are in long distance relationships and people who want to travel for the holidays. So again, just remember all the funky stuff is happening right at the end of the month. So just start planning or just mentally plan yourself in your mind. Just know if you do decide to go outside of the country, it's going to be a shit show. I mean, I feel like it typically always is anyways. You don't need a fucking transit to help make that happen. But there you go. Boom. That's where it's at. You could also receive like letters, because it's Mercury is also going into Sagittarius. You could also receive like letters, compliments, or gifts, or people are just sharing their feelings more for the first time in a relationship. Like this is a time that people might feel like it's time to open up and tell people how they really feel. We're definitely going to be more social at this time because Sagittarius is very upbeat, outgoing, and engaging. They move. Like this is again about taking action and not sitting still. So, getting up and getting involved in cultural events, world events, and these kinds of conversations. Because Venus can also rule like creativity. Um, and it's Mercury is included here. Mercury rules the hand. So these are like handmade things, knitting and stuff like that, or DIY stuff, or just anything that's made from scraps or whatever. Uh, how arts and crafts works, people who do things and they don't buy them, but they like to they're really good at like putting stuff together. If you are interested in doing that, you have the energy to soak that up at this time. Um, yeah. And then I did take some more additional notes. Um, we'll definitely be feeling a lot more adventurous or be more attracted to exotic people, places, and experiences at this time. Any old routines in your relationships, again, you're going to be taking a risk to change that. When Venus is in Sagittarius, it wants love to grow during this transit. Now, you have to be mindful. We're still waking up some of those outer planets that were all retrograde. I mean, I think we're in the clear for some, but Jupiter at the end of the month is going to be going um, direct, and then we'll be preparing for mid-December for um, Mercury's retrograde. So we'll be in shadow of Mercury's retrograde. And we're still in eclipse energy, right? So, with that being said, again, and I think I did mention this in the last video that I did, just saying like that eclipse energy was heavy, right? And we'll definitely feel the energetic shift once these things start to move in more into Sagittarius season. Even people will be sharing things that were in the dark come to light. But give just still give it time. Like we're still at the beginning stages here of that being a thing. So um making plans at this time instead of taking action might still be a better option. Now, whether you do it or not, that's completely up to you. I'm just putting that out there so that you know if things still aren't working out, even though you've got this energy and you're like, yo, I'm ready to go. Like, let's get this party started. You definitely could be feeling that. And as you go to attend to do things, it's like, so, but just keep that in mind as you move into this stuff. Um, I think I said some of those. And if you're single, as you're out trying these new things or book clubs or traveling, or even starting up a course or going to school or something to that effect, you can find your significant other in these places and spaces. Um, mm, mm, mm. I did say that they can exaggerate and tend to tell lies, especially when we have those Neptune. Um, are they squares or conjunctions? I think they're conjunctions. Don't quote me on that. They might even be sextiles. Still, even if it is a positive transit, we're talking about Neptune, and again, we're still really in the dark with a lot of these darker energies coming out of that Scorpio and Taurus eclipse energy. So just remember to just like let the conversations be. It doesn't have to be like super, super serious, although you should be taking this very seriously, but having casual conversation about next steps in your relationships, in your future goals and plans, your ideals, beliefs, and visions, like anything that you're planning to do or having conversations about right now, just be mindful. Not it's not really time to be taking action, but definitely having serious conversations about what that can look like. What do you want it to look like? What can you do out of those expectations that you have? Um, and then you can start doing day by day small things to make those things become a reality. These people do really value their ideals, beliefs, and visions. So I think you could get a lot done if you are working with a significant other around these themes. Um, I did talk about them being jokesters, even with, especially with Mercury here, because Mercury actually does rule communication. We can even see a lot of singing, because Venus is there. That's another creative tool that you can use here, using your voice. So if you're not doing like broadcasting, YouTubing, doing live videos and giving information in some kind of way, shape, or form, this could definitely be like um people having good laughs, jokes, sharing their schemes and ideas and dreams, friendly flirtatious behavior, very open-minded, but along with the over exaggeration, also just make sure for people being super judgmental and closed-minded on the lower vibration of that Sag energy. And then on a global level, we will be talking a lot about what's going on globally, again, because Sagittarius rules things outside of the country, and Mercury rules media, social media, um, and your family, because Mercury also rules siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces, nephews. And as I said, the Jupiter energy is your husband and your in-laws. Um, and so there is some aspects of love that are being played out here and family that are being played out here. Even with Venus, Venus rules all relationships. So, I wouldn't test this around the time of the holidays. These are not conversations you would want to have at this time, but for sure, um, while leading up to that, I think it's healthy to have these kinds of conversations, to be honest. And I think it's kind of needed with everything that's going on right now. So we can definitely see a lot of big blowouts, arguments, and differences of opinions when it comes to religion, culture, other countries and what they're doing, their morals and ethics, and how it relates to America. That would be a great conversation to have. Travel and how we conduct business or foreign affairs. I can only imagine with the political stuff going on right now, that'll be a great, huge topic. Law, legislation. Um, with Mars being in Gemini. heightening that Mercury energy. I do think this is gun laws. Now, I did talk about this on a bigger level when Jupiter was in Aries. Okay, so this is a huge thing. And we had all that information come up at that time about the guy who shot up a Walmart or something. And then I think shortly after that was like a school. Um, and so we could see a lot more topics or the continuation or the aftermath of what that is through law and legislation for sure at this time. I can only imagine it. And then there's also with the Neptune sextiles and stuff, it's like, what do we believe? What do we give our energy to? And how do we kind of have more healthier conversations from from the bigger perspective around these types of themes instead of having them arguments and disagreements. I think everybody's entitled to their opinion, and that's great as long as we're doing it in a way where there are some solutions and actual um, positive action steps towards, what's for the greater good, if you will, morally, ethically. Um, yeah. Um, you can hear how a lot of people are actually changing their beliefs and religion at this time or their philosophy. Um, or we can hear things changing in religion around spiritual law, higher law, universal law, when it comes to morals and ethics. I can imagine some of that, maybe more religious than spiritually. Spiritually, I feel like it's kind of locked in. Like you treat people the way you want to be treated. Those things are pretty set in stone. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see what comes up. If anything, we'll probably come up with more laws or laws that haven't been spoken about enough coming out now when it comes to the spiritual community. That's one way I can definitely see this stuff. Being played out more than anything in this whole entire world. I know for sure. I'm trying to get my Black perspective. We've seen a lot with the Mars and Gemini energy and the Neptune and Pisces energy around this idea of culture and what our culture is, and how we're kind of dealing with that. What is our culture? Do we want to continue being a part of a culture that's a death culture, or that, they're making people apologize for dumb shit? Um, in the Black community, I can only imagine that that conversation is going to get pretty fired up and hopefully action oriented. And I hope it's not the negative way, but culturally where we more like action oriented, where we more like band together and say, hey, these are our cultural beliefs and history, things that we might have done in the past, and how we feel it should be implicated now, and coming up with maybe some new groups. I did post something a little bit about that just the other day, which I think is very important for us to have places and spaces already set up for our people who are kind of caught up in these nonsensical contracts and governmental agreements when it comes to their creative talents and such, where they kind of have to enmesh in a culture that's no longer serving them. What can we do as the people to kind of refute that or have refuge for when they get out, and places that they can give back to, so that when they get out, they have a place to come to, type of thing? That's what I would like to see. This is what this energy is talking about, but I don't see nobody really fucking talking about it, which is pissing me off. But but I hope that that's a part of the cultural conversation that we're having, instead of just talking about it. Okay, let's start putting some systems and structures into that. We do have an aspect of Saturn where we can hopefully get more of that in place, as opposed to all this chit chatting, because I'm tired of it. It happens every year. It's just a nonsensical cycle. I don't want to talk anymore. Okay. I want to hear that Kyrie Irving just got into this situation and we just put him in the refugees now with the Black Panther culture. I don't know. I'm making it up as I go. Okay. And he got somewhere to go and he's doing just fucking fine. That's just me, a solution oriented motherfucker. So here's hoping I'm putting that out into the ethers and hopefully spreading that out when it happens. But um I hope that when people listen to this specific Sagittarius um Mercury and Venus and Sagittarius video that you get a sense of um how that relates to the Venus and Sagittarius personal videos that I did and how they are the same and why it's important to know both. That's what I really, really, really wanted to do this video for today. As I mentioned before, I'll be doing Mercury through the signs next and doing bigger videos just on those planets in general because I think it's important to know that stuff rules a lot. Like if you haven't seen my Mars video, just Mars. I mean, and dude, these things I promise you can be talked about for 2 hours alone. So, these little short videos are great and I think they give a lot. Um, having a whole life outside of that. It's not like you have all day to sit and listen to this stuff. But I just say that to know that there's more out there than just personal astrology, and I think it's important to learn both. I do. I know I keep saying it, y'all probably tired of me, but I love the fuck out of y'all, and I appreciate y'all. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you hit the notifications bell so that you can be notified every time we go live. Family, we do appreciate you in advance. Peace.